salmon that melts in your mouth, sushi rice steamed to perfection, a special sauce, and some artfully laid toppings. Today, we're making welcome. All right, first things first. It's pronounced poke, not pokey. It's one of my favorite Hawaiian dishes. And aside from the rice, there's really no cooking involved. And speaking of rice, that's where we're gonna start because it takes the longest. I've got 1 cup of short grain sushi rice here, and we're gonna wash it. Washing the rice helps to get rid of the excess starch. The goal is for the end product to be sticky and fluffy, but not mushy or clumpy. I like to wash and rinse it about 4 times until the water is more or less clear. Once it's washed, go ahead and let it soak for about 30 minutes. Since we're using 1 cup of rice, I'm gonna use 1 1/4 cup of water. Once it comes to a simmer, let it go with the top off for about 3 minutes, then turn the heat to low. Close her up and let it cook for another 12 minutes. While that cooks, let's do a quick cure on our salmon. Adding salt for about 15 minutes is going to improve the texture and remove any slight fishiness. Now back to our rice. I'm adding a tiny sprinkling of mirin, which is a sweet Japanese cooking wine, and a touch of salt. I'm gonna fluff this up and let it cool for a bit. This rice is sweet and nutty, the grains are separated but still stick together. This is exactly what we want. Now we're gonna rinse off our salmon. And this is important. I'm using sashimi-grade salmon here. You can find this at an Asian market, but I bought mine from Wild Fork, not sponsored. And I'm gonna cut this into bite-sized pieces that you can easily pick up with some chopsticks. I like the flavor of spicy salmon, so I'm gonna add some sriracha, just a touch of mayo, and some toasted sesame oil. Let this hang out while we prep our toppings, which is gonna start off with some cucumbers. I found these tender baby cucumbers. If you're using the large ones, I'd skin them first. I'm using some jalapeno for heat, and I just love the fresh bite it adds. Usually, the larger the jalapeno, the less spicy it is. And I'm gonna try for a fancy avocado presentation. Hit it with some vertical cuts, and then with the spoon, gently all right, we didn't quite nail it, but we'll just use the good part. I see avocado toast in my future. Now, let's talk sauce. I'm using some ponzu sauce, which is a citrus-based soy sauce with dashi. To learn more about dashi, watch my video on Oyakodon. Some soy sauce, and some sugar to balance the brightness of the ponzu. Finally, some toasted sesame oil kind of brings it all together. And that's it. A simple sauce you can use for a dish like this, wontons, dumplings, and you can even spice her up with some chili oil too. Assembly time. In a small bowl, lay down some of our perfectly cooked sushi rice, a generous portion of this insanely tender salmon poke, some edamame, and you want to arrange the toppings like a fine art piece so it looks more fancy than it actually is. Decide on the proper rotation angle for the avocado There we go. Some of our cucumbers for that nice fresh crunch. And I made a quick pickle of some red onions earlier today. It's just water, vinegar, sugar, and salt. Get some slices of lemon here for color. I promise we're almost done with our class. Final phase here, I'm getting some of our jalapenos down the center. And a couple spoonfuls of our sauce. I'm definitely not going to drink this off camera. And for an herb, we've got some cilantro. This is furikake, which is mainly dried seaweed and some sesame seeds. And I just love the way the black sesame seeds look on top. Very last thing here is some sashimi togarashi, which has chili powder, some dried orange peel, ginger, and some other stuff. And there it is. Fresh, simple, bright, sweet, crunchy, and pretty healthy too. Only thing left is to see how we did. Oh yeah. All right. We did it. I'll see you guys later.